You are 17 years old. Yesterday, you were a farmer's son. Today, Rome owns your body. They give you a shield almost as tall as your chest, a short sword you barely know how to use, and a bronze helmet that smells like sweat oil, and the man who wore it before you. Nobody asks if you are ready. Rome does not care if your hands shake. Rome does not care if your mother cried when you left. Rome needs bodies. And no, you are one of them. At the first level, you are nothing more than a recruit. Not a hero. Not a warrior. Not even a proper soldier yet. You are raw material. The army strips away your old life piece by piece. Your soft hands become cracked. Your feet blister until the skin tears open. Your back bends under the weight of gear you have never carried before. Your shield is called a scutum. It is large curved, and heavy enough to make your shoulder burn after only a few minutes. Your sword is called a gladius. It is short, brutal, and made for stabbing in close formation, not for heroic duels. Your javelin is called a pilum. It is designed to bend after impact, so the enemy cannot throw it back. You learn the names quickly. If you do not, someone hits you. Training begins before sunrise. You march. You dig. You lift. You run. You fall. Then you get up and do it again. Your instructor does not care that you are tired. Tired is normal. Pain is normal. Fear is normal. Complaining is dangerous. The first lesson is not how to fight. The first lesson is obedience. When the order comes, your body must move before your mind can argue. That is what Rome is building. Not bravery. Reflex. You eat coarse bread, beans, porridge. Whatever can be carried, boiled, and shared. It is not enough to make you strong, only enough to keep you moving. At night, you sleep badly. Your muscles twitch. Your feet throb. The older recruits snore beside you like broken animals. You dream of home. Then the horn wakes you. And Rome begins again. You learn to stand in formation. Shield pressed close. Eyes forward. Mouth shut. If one man breaks, the line weakens. If the line weakens, men die. So the instructors teach you to fear shame almost as much as death. You are not being trained to survive alone. You are being trained to survive as a wall. And if the wall fails, Rome will not ask who was scared first. Rome will punish the group. By the time you become a legionary, your old life already feels like something that happened to another boy. You are no longer just training. You now belong to a legion. A legionary is a full Roman soldier, one small part of a giant military machine. Around you are thousands of men, all wearing similar armor, carrying similar shields, obeying similar commands. That should make you feel safe. It does not. It makes you feel replaceable. Your gear is heavier now. Helmet, armor, shield, sword, javelins, tools, food, cloak, personal items. Everything you need to live, fight, dig, march, and suffer. You carry your world on your back. The road becomes your home. You march for miles under the sun until dust sticks to your sweat. Your sandals bite into your feet. Your shoulders ache. Your tongue swells in your mouth when water runs low. Then, when the marching stops, the work begins. A Roman army does not simply sleep in the open like a frightened mob. It builds a camp. Every night, if ordered, you dig a ditch, raise a rampart, plant stakes, arrange tents, set watches, and turn empty ground into a temporary fortress. The camp is called a castra. It is Rome in miniature. Straight lines, strict order, no wasted movement. Even exhaustion is organized. You want to collapse. Instead, you dig. Because a lazy soldier can get himself killed. A lazy camp can get everyone killed. Your food is plain, grain-bred beans. Cheese when you are lucky. Meat when supply allows it. You chew because you need fuel, not because you enjoy eating. Your sleep comes in pieces. A few hours under canvas. A few hours on guard. A few hours listening to coughs, whispers, boots, animals, and men trying not to sound afraid. You begin to understand something. The enemy is not the only danger. Bad water can kill you. Disease can kill you. A stupid officer can kill you. A missed order can kill you. A loose strap, a forgotten tool, a slow reaction, a broken formation, all of it can kill you. You thought war was about courage. Now you know it is about details. Small details. Ugly details. The kind nobody writes songs about. So you are placed inside a contubernium. A contubernium is your tent group, usually around 8 men who live, march, eat, sleep, and suffer together. These men become closer than family. Not because you love them, because you cannot escape them. You share a tent that smells of leather, sweat, smoke, wet wool. An old fear. You know who grinds his teeth at night. You know who hides extra food. You know who cries quietly when he thinks nobody hears. One man is always hungry. One man always complains. One man talks too much about home. One man says nothing at all. You learn their habits because your life depends on them. If the man beside you forgets his shield, your side opens. If he panics, your line bends. If he dies, your body feels the gap before your mind understands it. You stop thinking like one person. You start thinking like 8. Food is divided. Work is shared. Fear is hidden. And when punishment comes, it often comes to the group. Rome understands something cruel about men. A soldier may fail himself, but he is more afraid of failing the men who sleep beside him. So Rome makes survival social. Your shame belongs to the tent. Your weakness belongs to the tent. Your mistakes belong to the tent. That is how boys become soldiers. Not through glory, through pressure. After enough marching, enough digging, enough cold mornings with stiff fingers around your shield grip, you begin to change. You stop flinching at shouted orders. You stop wasting energy on anger. You stop asking why. You only ask what needs to be done next. That is when someone notices you. You are not the strongest. You are not the loudest. But you listen. You remember. You survive. And in Rome, surviving long enough can become a promotion. You become one of the immunes. The word sounds like freedom. It is not. Immunes are soldiers with special skills. Builders, clerks, engineers, medics, craftsmen. Men who can repair, count, write, measure, or organize. You are excused from some of the worst routine labor. At first, you think this means you have escaped. You have not. You have only moved closer to the machinery. Now you see what holds the army together. Not just swords. Not just shields. Paperwork. Tools. Roads. Wagons. Blacksmith. Bandages. Food list. Pay records. Broken wheels. Rotten grain. Missing nails. A legion does not die only when enemies break its line. It dies when supply fails. It dies when tools vanish. It dies when wounds rot. It dies when nobody knows where the food went. If you work with equipment, men curse you when their gear fails. If you help with records, men hate you when their pay is delayed. If you stand near the wounded, you learn what battle does without needing to be in the front line. You see men come back with blank faces. You see hands that cannot hold cups. You see boys who were laughing in the morning stare at nothing by sunset. You learn that safety is not the same as distance. War reaches backward. It finds everyone. Then comes the next step. Optio. The Optio is the deputy to the Centurion, the second in command of a century. A century is not always exactly 100 men in practice. It is often around 80 fighting soldiers. And now you stand behind them. Not in front. Behind. That sounds safer. It is not. Your job is to keep the line from breaking. You carry a staff. You use it to signal to direct, and if needed, to push men back into position. The men in front of you fear the enemy. But they also fear you. They know if they turn too soon, you will say it. If they step back, you will say it. If panic starts, you are the one expected to stop it before it spreads. You are no longer just surviving fear. You are managing it. That is worse. When the shields lock and the enemy closes, you hear the breathing of your own men, fast, wet, uneven. You hear someone whisper a prayer. You hear another man curse his father. You want to be afraid with them, but your face cannot show it. Because fear travels. One frightened face can infect a line. So you become hard. Not because you feel nothing. Because everyone is watching. The Centurion gives the order. You repeat it. The line moves. A man hesitates. You shove him forward. He looks back at you with hatred. You understand. You would hate you too. But if he runs, more will run. If more run, the line breaks. If the line breaks, the enemy pours through. So you do your job. That is what promotion means now. Less innocence. More responsibility. More reasons for men to curse your name before they die. Then one day, the Centurion falls. Maybe in battle. Maybe from sickness. Maybe from a wound that looked small until fever took him. And suddenly, the eyes turn toward you. You become a Centurion. Now you are no longer behind the line. You are the line. A Centurion is one of the most important officers in the Roman army. You command roughly 80 men. Enforce discipline, lead from the front, and carry the weight of every mistake your unit makes. You are paid more. You are respected more. You are feared more. And you are in more danger than almost anyone. Your helmet may be more decorated. Your armor may be better. Your voice may carry authority. But in battle, your position is exposed. Men follow what they can see. So you must be visible. You stand where fear is thickest. You shout where noise is loudest. You move where hesitation begins. If the men see you step back, they will step back. If they see you panic, they will panic. So you do not panic, even when you should. The vine staff in your hand is a symbol of authority. You use it to punish, to command, to remind men that Rome's discipline has a physical shape. Some men respect you. Some men despise you. Most do both. You handle training. You handle punishment. You handle order. You learn which soldiers are brave, which are stupid, which are useful, which are breaking quietly inside. You know who needs encouragement. You know who needs threats. You know who will run if the line shakes. You know who will hold until he dies. At night, you walk through camp and see your men sleeping. Young faces. Dirty faces. mouths open from exhaustion. You know their names now. That is the punishment of command. Names. A legionary can lose a man beside him. A centurion loses men he sent there. When food is short, you decide who gets what. When patrols are needed, you choose who goes. When discipline fails, you decide how hard Rome's hand comes down. You tell yourself harshness saves lives. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it only makes you feel less helpless. Then comes the word every soldier fears. Decimation. Not common, not casual, but remembered. Decimation is a Roman punishment where a disgraced unit could be forced to kill one man out of every 10. The word comes from the Latin idea of a tenth. Even when it is not used, the fear of it lives inside the ranks. Rome understands terror. Not wild terror. Organized terror. The kind that makes men stand still when every part of the body wants to run. You become part of that system. You tell yourself you are keeping men alive. But some night, you are not sure. Years pass. You survive battles you should not have survived. You survive fevers, ambushes, bad orders, winter roads, officers who wanted glory more than sense. You become older than many men around you. Not old, just older than soldiers usually get. And then, you rise again. Primus Pilus, the first spear, the senior centurion of the first cohort. Among centurions, you are the highest. Among common soldiers, you are a legend. Men look at you and see proof that survival is possible. They do not see the cost. They do not see the faces you carry. They do not hear the names that come back when the camp goes quiet. You now stand close to commanders. You advise men born richer than you, educated better than you, dressed cleaner than you, but with less understanding of what happens when orders meet mud. A young officer may point at a map. You know the hill he is pointing at means bleeding feet, broken wheels, thirsty men, and a line that may arrive too tired to fight. Maps are clean. War is not. Your value is experience. Your curse is experience. You have survived long enough to know how many things can go wrong. The recruits admire you. The officers use you. The veterans watch you closely, because if you look worried, they know something is truly wrong. You no longer fear death the way you once did. You fear waste. Wasted men. Wasted courage. Wasted marches. Wasted lives thrown into bad ground because someone needed a victory before winter. Then you enter the world of the tribune. A tribune is an officer, often from a higher social class, sometimes young, sometimes ambitious, sometimes more political than practical. If you become one, or serve close enough to think like one, you discover another battlefield. Not the one with shields, the one with status, reports, reputation, patronage, power. You wear a cleaner cloak now. You speak with men who care how victory looks in Rome, not only how it feels in the mud. You learn that armies fight enemies in front of them and politics behind them. A wrong report can ruin you. A failed campaign can stain your family. A popular commander can become dangerous to the men above him. A dead soldier is tragedy. A dead reputation is strategy. The veterans do not trust you at first. Why would they? They have seen young officers arrive with polished armor and bright ideas. They have seen those same ideas buried with the men who obeyed them. So you learn to listen. Or you get men killed. As tribune, you begin to understand something worse than fear. Distance. When you were a recruit, danger had a face. An enemy. A blade. A cold night. A bad meal. Now danger becomes numbers. How many men can march? How many days of grain remain? How many casualties are acceptable? Acceptable. That word should disgust you. But command teaches it to you. Slowly, carefully, until one day you say it without flinching. Then comes the highest level most men can imagine. Legate. Commander of a legion. Thousands of men now move because your order says they move. A legate holds authority over an entire legion, a force large enough to change the fate of towns, borders, and provinces. On paper, it looks powerful. In reality, it feels like holding a storm by the throat. You stand over maps and wooden markers. Here is the river. Here is the road. Here is the enemy. Here is where the men will cross. Here is where some will not return. From above, war becomes lines and blocks. You push one marker forward. A cohort marches. You turn another. Cavalry moves. You send orders. Trumpets sound. Men who have never seen your face begin walking toward danger. That is command. Not shouting in battle. Not glory. Distance. The terrifying ability to kill men without touching them. You eat better now. You sleep in better quarters. People salute faster. But peace does not come with rank. It leaves. Because now every failure is yours. If the scouts are wrong, your men pay. If the supply road fails, your men starve. If the enemy refuses to break, your men bleed. If Rome demands victory, your men become the price. You remember being 17. You remember the shield too large for your body. You remember your first blister. Your first night in the tent. Your first friend who did not wake up. You remember when survival meant keeping your own feet moving. Now survival means carrying thousands of lives inside decisions nobody else will understand. And Rome is always hungry. Rome wants roads. Rome wants taxes. Rome wants borders. Rome wants obedience. Rome wants victory. The empire does not care that your hands shake when nobody is looking. It did not care when you were a recruit. It does not care now. Years later, if you survive long enough, the armor comes off. That should feel like freedom. It does not. Your body has been shaped by the army. Your knees remember the marches. Your back remembers the gear. Your ears remember the horns. Your hands remember the shield grip. You sit in silence and realize the hardest thing to survive may not have been battle. It may be life after battle. Rome may promise land. Rome may promise pay. Rome may promise honor. But promises travel slowly. Paperwork gets lost. Politics change. Commanders die. New wars begin. New boys are recruited. The machine keeps moving. Without you. That is the final rank. After Rome. No helmet. No shield. No command. Only memory. You see young men in the street and know which ones would break first. You hear metal strike metal and your body tightens before your mind catches up. You smell smoke and for 1 second, you are back in the camp, waiting for orders. People ask what it was like. You do not tell them. Not really. How could you explain that every rank gave you something and took something larger away? As a recruit, Rome took your childhood. As a legionary, it took your comfort. In the contubernium, it took your privacy. As an immune, it took your illusion of safety. As an Optio, it took your innocence. As a Centurion, it took your sleep. As Primus Pilus, it took your peace. As Tribune, it took your certainty. As Legate, it took the last excuse that you were only following orders. And after Rome, it leaves you with the one thing it cannot use. Your name. A name written nowhere important. A name not carved into monuments.